call the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for Tuesday, April the 23rd to order. First item on the agenda is invocation. I'll do that. Second item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Alderman Speedy will do that, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the agenda. Would you please stand and bow with me? Heavenly Father, we come to you in prayer. Thank you for these blessings that we have, the blessings of public meetings and all of the freedoms that we have and we take for granted sometimes in this great country of ours. We ask your blessings upon those who are responsible for protecting our freedoms, the first responders, the soldiers, and their families. We ask your blessings upon them. We also, Heavenly Father, ask your blessings upon us as leaders of the city of Franklin. We ask that you give us the spiritual wisdom and guidance that we need when we make decisions. This prayer we offer in Christ's name. Amen.
Next flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a period of citizen comments on items that are not on the agenda. I do not have any citizen cards, so I'm assuming there are no items for consideration or anyone wants to speak on anything that's not on the agenda tonight. If not, then we'll go to communication. Any county commissioner, any other elected official? Seeing none, let's go to approval for the minutes. The minutes are April the 9th, 2019 for the work session and April the 9th, 2019 for the Board of Mayor and Alderman.
Move for approval.
Proper
Mr.
motion?
Vice Mayor, I'd ask we defer that. We are doing some more work on those minutes.
Okay.
So we'd like to have that moved to the next meeting.
Withdraw? Do we need a motion to defer then? Okay, then I'll.
Yeah, defer to May 14th.
Do you want to,
Motion to defer till May 18th.
proper motion is a second?
14th.
Alderman Bransford seconds that. Right? I saw that. Hand up. Proper motion to, any other comments on that? Then let's vote on that. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Next item on the agenda says recognitions, miscellaneous reports. I don't see any recognitions. Do you have a miscellaneous report?
I just have a quick miscellaneous report. One of the meetings that is on our schedule is going to be canceled. The meeting for the 25th of April, this Thursday at 4 o'clock, the Capital Investment Committee meeting is canceled. So we will move those items to the work session on the 14th of May.
Okay.
Oh, and the Main Street Festival
Go ahead.
is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you're tired of the NFL draft, come on out and enjoy Main Street Festival.
A lot of people. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. The items on the consent agenda will not be discussed. Any member of the governing body desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and be placed on the regular agenda. And it will then be considered at that time. Staff recommends that items 14 through 18 be placed on the consent agenda. Anyone wish to remove any of those items from the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Proper motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Consent agenda is approved. Item 3, old business, an ordinance to rezone 22.7 acres from the detached residential district to the specific development residential SDR 2.04 district for the property located north of South Carruthers Road and east of Carruthers Parkway and 4340 South Carruthers Road, Carruthers Chase. The Franklin Municipal Planning Commission 7-0, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to address that?
I'll just make a quick comment that although this had been passed at first and second reading based on the failure to pass the development plan at your previous meeting, staff has changed its recommendation that this rezoning be denied. So that's what we would recommend, based on the direction that was provided at the previous board meeting.
Then I will entertain a motion on item 3. Did you understand, everyone understand what staff is now recommended denial of this rezoning?
I so move.
Second.
Motions to deny the rezoning and second. Any questions or comments on this?
So I'm assuming they come back through with a new planned unit development that'll come along with proper zoning at that point in time?
Exactly, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Go to item 4, public hearing. Consideration of ordinance 2019-02 and ordinance to rezone 10.03 acres from general commercial district to civic institutional district for the property located south of East McEwen Drive and west of Carruthers Parkway, future city park. Municipal Planning Commission 9-0, Board, Bowman 8-0, second of 3 readings. You're up.
All right, so this is a rezoning associated with the Huffines Ridge Planned Unit Development. It is for the rezoning of 10 acres from general commercial to civic institutional district for the area of land to be dedicated to the city for a future city park. It is part of the HHO, the Hillside Overlay Zone, and it, in Envision Franklin, this is called out as a conservation area to be used either for permanent conservation or for recreational purposes, and this meets the intent of Envision Franklin. There's also, as part of this rezoning, the area to be rezoned, there is a historic house, the Carruthers House, which is to be restored as part of a later item, the Parkland Offset Agreement. Staff recommends approval.
Anyone want to address this board? It is a public hearing. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Second.
Proper motion and second, Alderman Peterson.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion needs to also say that the legal description needs to be added.
Do you want
Whoever,
Amend my motion to add the legal description.
to, okay, second. Proper motion and a second. Any other discussion? Yes.
I want a clarification. Is this correct? It says the property is currently 10+ acres? Is that correct? I thought it was under 10, but I was just from, no.
It's 10.03
It is, okay.
acres.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We've got a motion and a proper second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes 7-0. Go to item 5, public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2019-03 and ordinance to rezone 12.67 acres from general commercial district to specific development variety SDX district for the property located south of East McEwen and west of Carruthers Parkway, Huffines property PUD subdivision. Emily, you're up again.
All right, well, this is a rezoning also associated with the Huffines Ridge Planned Unit Development, which is the next item. This is for approximately 12 acres to rezone to SDX. And the uses being proposed include multifamily residential, office, and hotel, in a layout that meets the intent of Envision Franklin and the design requirements stated in the policy there. Staff recommends approval, again, with the addition of the legal description.
This is a public hearing. Anyone want to address the board on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion
Move for approval?
with legal.
With legal description.
And is there a second?
second.
And Alderman Peterson seconds that. Any other questions or comments on this item? Then I will ask for the vote on this item. Item 5. We've got a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Item 6, consideration of Resolution 2019-09, a resolution approving a development plan for Huffines Property PUD subdivision with 2 modification of development standards. Maximum retaining wall height evergreen shrubs for the property located south of East McEwen and west of Carruthers. Emily, you're up again.
All right, this is the Huffines Ridge Development Plan. As we just discussed, it is in the Regional Commerce Design Concept and Envision Franklin. The mix of uses and the layout of the buildings do meet Envision Franklin. There are 2 modifications of standards that have been requested. The first one being for maximum retaining wall height. The zoning ordinance currently says you can have 1 single retaining wall at a maximum of 10 feet. The applicant's proposing a maximum retaining wall height of 14 feet. And this would be immediately adjacent to the HHO, where the hill is to be preserved for the city park purposes. Normally, staff would not be recommending approval. However, given that most of the site is, or half of the site nearly is covered by the HHO, in order to get the buildings along with the road and utilities and everything that need to go in and protect the HHO, the hillside, for the future park purposes, staff is recommending approval due to the unique circumstances. The second modification of standards regarding evergreen shrubs at the base of a different retaining wall, this is along the south property line. There are currently existing trees that are on the other side of that retaining wall, on the low side of the retaining wall, eliminating the need for shrubs to screen it. And those trees are already existing and are to be protected with the plan for the development to the south, Carruthers Crossing West. So staff recommends approval of the second modification of standards as well.
Again, this is a public hearing. Anyone want to address the board on this particular item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll need to vote on the modification of standards first, or
Take an overall motion and
take an
then
overall
a
motion and
by
then vote on the
MOS.
modification of standards. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Proper motion, is there a second?
I'll second, but it needs to be with with staff conditions. I mean, that,
Well,
Well, isn't that the modification of standards?
no, it's not.
well, isn't that spelled out in here, or we're not going to the,
No, no.
we have to vote on each individual?
No.
No, just the main motion
Yeah.
should be, staff would recommend approval with staff conditions, which
Okay.
there is an attachment of staff conditions in your file.
All right, I move for approval with staff conditions.
Proper motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second? Now, let's go to the modification of standards. Do we need to repeat the modification of standards for anyone? Then I'll entertain a motion for approval of modification of standards number 1.
Move for approval.
Proper motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's go to modification number 2. I'll entertain a motion for modification number 2 of standards, or number 2 modification of standards. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Proper motion, is there a second?
Second.
And there is a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's go to the original motion as has been modified, as has been approved through the modification of standards. And we have a motion on that. All in favor of the original motion with the modifications of standards indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Let's go to item 8.
Item 7.
I skipped one. I'm sorry. Item 7, consideration of contract number 2019-0094, road impact offset agreement with Goldberg Companies, Inc. for the Hillfines Property PUD subdivision. Let's see if we can have a motion on that, and then we'll do any discussion that we want to do.
Move approval.
Prop motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Let's go to item 8, consideration of City of Franklin contract number 2019-0096, parkland dedication and construction. An agreement between the City of Franklin and Legacy LLC concerning the development known as Huffine Ridge.
Move for approval.
Proper motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. New business. Consideration of Resolution 2019-22, a resolution to establish decision points for the transition of Sanitation and Environmental Services Department, Recycling and Commercial Services. I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Proper motion is second.
Should we say something about that?
Now, oh, yes, now you're available to make a comment if you'd like.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, maybe the public would like to hear what this is about. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just, if you like, this memo or this resolution is accompanied by a memo that summarizes a number of actions, and we'll bring forward some ordinance amendments that relate to these in the coming weeks. But it essentially provides for a transition in our residential recycling program from the blue bags that we use today to a rollout container. So this provides for that to go into effect, those services to transition by January of 2020, and provides for how those administrative fees would be allocated, which would be a $4 a month charge for that 12-month period initially, and the implementation of that program. It also provides for the city to move out of the commercial dumpster business with a 90-day notice requirement to our customers that are in that business, that we would no longer provide that and rely on private haulers to handle resident or commercial dumpster services. So this really just provides us with the board's direction on how to implement those changes in our sanitation services. As I indicated, and as the resolution touches on as well, we're going to need to amend some components of the municipal code to provide for all that, but we wanted sort of a broad direction from the board as we moved into making those changes.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Item 10, consideration of Resolution 2018-102, a resolution providing design direction for the State Route 96 West Multipurpose Trail Project, Vera Valley Drive to Fifth Avenue North. Let's do,
Mr. Vice Mayor, if you'd like, I can give you a little background on this as well in terms of what we're recommending on this specific item from a staff perspective. We've talked about this a number of times and spent a number of times meeting with this property owner about how this project may impact an existing business. And what this resolution would do, and the option that we are recommending, which is option 3, would provide some authority to me as your city administrator to spend up to $50,000 working with this property owner on an option that might reconfigure the site to accommodate parking on the site, as well as the outdoor display of the merchandise, the display tables, et cetera. Modify that, modify freestanding canopy area, and sort of reconfigure the site to continue to accommodate merchandise and retail activity, and gives me just some authority up to $50,000 is what we've proposed. If you're comfortable with a different number, that's obviously something you could give us direction on. But that's what staff is recommending as an option, and this resolution, if you put option 3 in place, would simply give me some authority to work with that specific approach.
You've heard the explanation. I would like to get a motion, and then if there's any discussion between the alderman or any questions or comments you've got, we'll go to you then. Do I hear a motion after the explanation?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2018-102.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and Alderman McClendon.
To clarify, is that option
I'm
3?
about,
Okay.
that was the point of my question. I think that I have repeatedly heard the property owner assure us that they thought they could get sufficient parking on the site. Do we have, does the property owner prefer option 3?
We don't know that for sure. We think there are ways to work with paving that is there, and when we put a driveway apron in place to work with that, this would provide us with that authority to work on that option with them directly, but they have not given us a clear
Okay.
indication on what,
And to be clear,
How that would
option
work.
3 is authority for you to direct the expenditure by the city of up to $50,000 to make improvements on the site. That is not authority for you to give $50,000 to the property owner.
exactly.
Okay, in that case, I'll amend my motion to recommend or to approve Resolution 2018-102 with option 3.
Second. Any other questions from any other member of the board?
So, in item number 3, Eric, you said driveway apron, but it's not clearly discussed here.
Yeah, the driveway apron would be outside of the $50,000. That would be just integrated into the trail project itself. So the 50,000 really would relate to
Moving the
reconfiguration of
display area.
the display area, the parking, or the paved area that is on the property owner's area. Not the driveway apron would be absorbed as part of the construction of the trail.
But not
as it is
towards
with
that,
other
okay.
properties, yes.
Well,
So-
and from the beginning, even before we even talked about this proposed sidewalk, and again, Ann, I'm gonna bring you into this with me. Our concern was from, and I hate to, BB's Barbecue, what is that, 11th? All the way to Miss Rittenberry's, just because of the narrow, opportunity there to put a sidewalk in. We'd even talked about trying to reduce it from a trail to 5 feet, like a standard sidewalk. So I am just torn up about this because you think about, and I'm saying this just because of the fact that we're voting on it, it's gonna go away, so I may be redundant. But you think about some of our old standing businesses in this community, and for them to be displaced because of progress is something I have a hard time with. Much like we're fixing to experience with Columbia Avenue and that widening. I wish there was a way to know which option suited you best. I don't know if you want to be sold out and try to relocate, so it's hard for me to try to know which is best without input. I appreciate the staff input. I appreciate all of the effort that's been to try to make this horrible situation amenable, but I don't know. I don't know how the property owner feels, so it makes it a little bit difficult.
Okay.
If I could, this provides me authority to work on this option, which is an option we hope would keep the business open and functioning. If there's another ask from the property owner down the line, that doesn't prohibit us from revisiting that or talking about that. But what this really provides me with is some authority to work with this
Okay.
specific option, which our goal would be to work with them to keep the business open and sort of reconfigure the site.
Well, you have to think, okay, would buying them out at $600,000 allow them to relocate, not in Franklin, but somewhere else and try to cultivate a new business? I don't even know if that's your desire, because it's a relationship-driven business. You have the same customers you've been dealing with for decades. So that does make me feel a little bit better. I don't know that 50,000 is the magic number, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So knowing that we can come back and amend that makes me happier.
Any other questions or comments?
That was my question regarding.
I just think that, as Eric said, this gives him authority to work with this, but there are other options that they may choose, and they're looking into some things right now for their property, so this gives them a little time as well, Eric, for you to work with them while they're looking at some other options as well. So they need some time on this to vet it out properly, so they're not rushed, and this gives some flexibility to you all as well. So, yes, I'll support that, option 3.
We do have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Let's go to item 11, consideration of resolution 2019-18, a resolution to select a design concept for the intersection upgrade project at Liberty Pike and North Royal Oaks Boulevard. And I do want to say that I have, and we have received a letter from Adams and Reese. I think most of the aldermen have received this, hopefully, through their email in the last day. Have you?
No.
Has everyone received a copy of this? We'll make copies of it for you if you have not received one.
How did you not get it?
Yeah,
You get more email than everyone combined.
That's probably why. It's probably sitting there. It sometimes gets lost in cyberspace because my computer goes crazy.
then let's continue with this. Consideration of resolution
What does the letter say?
2019-18.
What does the letter say?
For discussion, we need a motion.
Well.
Move
we're-
approval,
Proper motion,
Second.
second.
reserving the
The option.
option.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Now, the floor is open for discussion.
What is the letter pertaining to?
The letter is, take
Lawyer stuff.
lawyer stuff.
Lawyer stuff.
Three
Would you like to
pages.
explain it? No, that's all right. Go ahead.
The letter is pertaining to the design, whether it's a signalized intersection, whether it's a roundabout, property owner rights, various other things.
If you'd like to introduce that letter to the record, we can do that.
We can
We
do
haven't,
that.
staff
We
has
will.
not seen the letter, so I can't.
Staff hasn't
Oh,
signed the
this
letter?
No.
is
Staff ha-
exactly, yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
So you have seen that letter, then,
No, but I've
but you are
had
familiar with it,
discussion on
okay?
that, yes.
I have a comment.
Go ahead with your comment.
So I live here, not in the intersection, but very close. Yeah, I might be living there. I want to go home. And I live in the Andover subdivision, and so I know in one of the first iterations it had concrete where you would try to make a eastbound exit from that subdivision, which would be virtually impossible. That's since been altered, which is great. I do know that with the growth, just like the Huffines Ridge development that we just approved, you've got Columbia State, you've got so many things happening over there. This intersection does need to be addressed sooner than later. But I will vehemently, however you say that word, with passion, say I just don't think a roundabout makes sense. I've said in many of our meetings, I think number one, it's not appropriate there because of Centennial High School. I think the other part of that is when you look at the Royal Oaks Hill coming north down that hill, it already backs up now with that light there, and to add more potential backing up, it's a nightmare to me to think about. So I know that roundabouts are the new in vogue way of moving traffic. And I know that we've been trying to implement these in a lot of places, but like Margaret said once before, roundabouts probably need to happen with new construction, not existing intersections. I think the learning curve and the amount of traffic, it just doesn't make sense for me. So I will see what the consensus seems to be about. I don't know that we need 7 lanes. I think we need to be careful about the apartments and carving too much into their real estate. But I'm totally against roundabouts.
Alderman Berger.
Thank you. Well, I will say that roundabouts are not a new thing. In fact,
I'm just saying to us.
right, I know. But I would say that roundabouts are very, very old, and signals are probably more new than roundabouts. But I think in our society, you're absolutely correct, Brandy, in what you say, that it is new to us in the last 15 years, with the exception of the downtown roundabout square. But I'm not real worried about the young people over there. I did talk to Paul, and I said if we ever got to the point where we would do a roundabout there, and it is much easier to put it into raw land, absolutely, than to retrofit it. But in this case, I do believe that the retrofit of putting a roundabout here makes more sense. I'm not worried about the young people. I think that we will definitely have to be over at the school, make sure that we're giving some classes on how to properly use them. These young people pick these things up. Other people I worry about are my age. Unless we've lived in many places where there are roundabouts. So the other thing is the concern with the backup. The backup increases will increase a whole lot more with traffic signals. Roundabouts, you will have backup on occasion when it fills up, and then it continuously goes. You don't have the long waits as you do with a signal. You have much longer waits with signals. So I'm concerned with the backup, so I think that's another thing. Then I looked at all the numbers that we had here that were given to us, and they grade us from, as you see, A, B, C, D, and E, and F. Interesting that the roundabout had 50 A's. The ultimate design, the minimal design, and the optimal design all had 0 A's. This is in movement of traffic and the efficiency of the intersection. B's, the roundabout had 15 B's. The other ones had, ultimate was the second one with 9 B's, then 2 B's for the minimal, and optional. Optional is 2 B's. So it would be 15, 9, 2, 2. Then you go to the C's, and then the D's, the F's. When we get to the F's, the roundabout had 1 F, meaning a failed intersection, in 2040, meaning a pileup of traffic. There were 1 F in the ultimate and 12 F's in minimal and an optimal 1 F. And then the E's, which is simultaneously with the F, you had 14, 25, and 5, whereas the roundabout had 1. To me, I think this makes more sense to move. Our big thing in the future is moving traffic, preventing gridlock, looking forward, what is happening 10, 15, 20, 25 years from today? How do we move traffic? We know all the things that are happening in that district. We have the college, we have all the development up and down the corridor of Carruthers, and we have the new medical district. And I say new medical district because that medical district has been there with the hospital. And over the last 12 years, we've had much more built in that area for medical. It's the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, the proton cancer therapy, the different doctor's offices and medical buildings. So traffic is going to be major, major, major at this intersection. And then we're going to have to look at improving Royal Oaks from that intersection down to 96. So with all those concerns, and with the apartments as well, and I'm very familiar with the letter that was given out, I would literally, to be proactive and be forward-thinking and knowing what we need to do as a board for the future, I have to support the roundabout. The ultimate would be the second choice. I could not support minimal or optimal. The ultimate would be my second choice, but it would not be a top second choice. My choice is the roundabout for all the reasons stated.
Alderman Speedy.
I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of roundabouts, and I'm not sure I would actually know how to drive on this roundabout right now. But that being said, to Alderman Berger's comments, you look at the engineering results, and I mean, it's a clear-cut winner on how it moves traffic. And whereas opposed to on Columbia Avenue, I was opposed to the roundabouts because the footprint of the roundabout, 6 of them in, less than a mile length of road was gonna, take up a lot of parking from existing businesses, damaged businesses. I mean, here it seems to be the complete reverse, where we have, Vieira of Cool Springs, Adams and Reese here saying that this would make the least impact on their property. So I guess from now, I would have to say I would seriously have to consider looking at the roundabouts. And if we didn't go that route, I think we have to get the numbers from Vieira of Cool Springs of, what kind of economic damage are we doing? And, those apartments are probably uninhabitable on the 7-lane, 5 feet from the road. I just don't think that's doable.
Any other comments? Alderman McClendon.
I think Scott's got a lot of good points on that. And I think people are adaptable. But in this case, it is so clear that the superior engineering result of the one option married to the least impact on neighboring property owners. I mean, it's, the downside to it seems temporal. The upside to it seems much more permanent. And the cost is, I think, likely to be the least with the roundabout. So, I think we can count on people becoming adept at the roundabout. And as for the kids, just put some batteries in it and teach them how to like it, and it'll take off, no problem.
Any other, Alderman Bransford.
Just a comment about the stacking with signalization, that really concerns me, that those numbers would affect those property owners and residents in that area. So I'm more inclined to look at the engineering as well. Sorry, Brandy. But that is important, I think, to be able to move that traffic, because it's going to continue to build, and we are looking, by the time we get it built, it's going to be antiquated. So the roundabout will allow us some longevity and having that usefulness of that intersection. So at this stage, I would support something that looks like a roundabout.
Alderman Blanton. I thought you wanted to speak again. I thought, no rebuttal. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Go.
I'll amend, did I make the original motion?
I think you made the
I'll
original.
amend my original motion then to recommend approval with the roundabout option, which I think is option 2.
Second.
Proper motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
Excuse me.
If not, I'll entertain a vote on that then. All in favor of the motion as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-2. 5-2. Let's go to item 12, a resolution providing staff with funding direction for the home raising project developed by the United States Army Corps of Engineers as part of the Harpeth River feasibility study. I think there was 2 or 3 options in there. I'll entertain a motion and then open the floor up for discussion.
Move for approval, using option 3.
Proper motion, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. The floor is now open for discussion. Anyone?
Which,
It was actually written as option 3. The resolution is written,
Okay,
so it's consistent.
I have a question for whoever may know the answer, if I may. In other circumstances in the city where our CIP has money budgeted for a project, and that project directly benefits homeowners by mitigating their flooding problems, what percentage of those project costs are we asking those homeowners to pay? Fairgrounds, Battle,
Battle Avenue.
Yeah, those are not projects that get into specific home improvements. Those are,
okay, I
those
understand
are
that.
system improvements and,
I understand that, but
Those are-
they are being done to directly render financial benefit to homeowners. Now, we can say that on the one hand, it's not on the property, and on the other hand, it is. But when you zoom out and say wherever the construction and improvement is being done, the reality is that we're taking taxpayer funds and allocating them to mitigate a small number of affected homeowners who will receive a direct and immediate benefit. What percentage of those project costs are we asking those homeowners to pay? I know the answer, it's rhetorical. The answer is none. That's why I'm gonna support that we have 100% funding from the city for this project, just like the others that we are doing to mitigate people who are being flooded. Otherwise, we need to go back and ask people who are being benefited directly by taxpayer expenditure to chip in 50-50 at Battle Avenue and Fairgrounds and wherever else we're doing it. They are similarly situated.
Question. How many of those also are in a program with the Corps of Engineers?
How many what, Bev?
How many of those projects that Dana mentioned are also getting assisted with the Corps of Engineers?
None of them.
None, but I'm not sure how that makes any difference. We're just, that's,
Well, it does
We're in a program.
Makes a lot of difference
It makes a huge difference to me because we're in a program where we would never be doing this on our own. We couldn't afford to do this on our own. And have we worked with a program like this before with the Corps of Engineers on any other properties? Just asking the question.
Alderman Speedy.
One point of clarification, I think city staff recommended option one in our, in the material that we got. I'm pretty sure it was option one.
no, we,
If you look at the last graph, it says.
we recommended option one.
Between the city.
The
and
original
homeowner.
memo recommended option one.
Okay,
We
well, I'm
wrote it
looking
as
at the one on
option three based
419.
on the discussion last time.
But I'm looking at city staff recommends option one on
Yeah.
the 4/19
Yes,
memo. And option one is the homeowners pay.
correct. We wrote this as option three based on the discussion that you all had at the work session. That seemed to be the majority of the board was
Gotcha, okay.
comfortable with three.
Okay,
So
okay,
that's,
okay.
we modified the resolution to reflect that, but the staff recommendation from the
I got you.
beginning has been the
Resolution,
option
sorry,
one.
Sorry, look at the second one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I guess my comments would be, it is already 65% taxpayer funded. It is a voluntary program. And I think the difference is maybe in the Battle Avenue projects, the city is purchasing those properties. We own those assets versus this is an expense that, again, we are basically giving the homeowners. I would have to think that it's got to at least keep the property values the same or increase the property values. I would think it would then reduce their flood insurance premiums, that it would benefit the homeowners. And I'm just not sure it should be 100%, I guess, taxpayer funded. Again, more of a expense versus the assets on those other projects.
Alderman Martin.
Well, I don't think it's the same at all. Those homes on Battle Avenue were okay until that storage unit was built. And they became lakes after that. All of that water pours right down there. We've spent a lot of time and money on trying to mitigate that, and we came up with a solution. 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, we talked to those homeowners about purchasing their land, purchasing their houses. I think, didn't we, Clyde? Didn't we talk to him about that? And then FEMA came in with this project, and somehow that just got swept under the rug. Well, I cannot vote for anything with FEMA to aid FEMA until we get Battle Avenue taken care of. Then if we have money left over, I'd be willing to look at that. But, you know, this is those homeowners that you're out there now, you've lived in your homes, some of you 40 years, haven't you? 40, 50 years. 50 years. Okay, well, anyway, long time.
Let's
These
keep
people
our
on Battle
discussions here.
Avenue have, they have discovered that with this storage unit back there, their homes are just practically underwater. And the city goes out there and pumps the yards. Until we can take care of Battle Avenue like we promised, almost, I'm not for getting into FEMA.
Question.
Go ahead.
When does this program run out?
Well, we don't have a definitive deadline, but we, from what we know of it, we want to make this decision by the end of summer so that we can move forward with informing residents so that they can make informed decisions. This is a voluntary program, and we want to make sure they know what their responsibility might be in the projects and make an informed decision that way. And then we can move forward with the Army Corps and implementing the program. So it's a little bit of a self-imposed deadline, but we believe to keep things moving and to give property owners enough time to make an informed decision that we should make that decision by summer.
Was the original deadline for us just to let them know we would participate?
We've already done that.
Right, so
You
that
did
was the deadline I was thinking
Yeah, you
about.
did that last summer,
Yeah, okay.
August
That was the
timeframe.
deadline I was
So
thinking
we've
about.
done that piece and that basically
Okay.
secures the 65%. But we need to
Yeah,
answer this
security.
question so
Okay.
people can move forward.
That's the deadline I was
Yeah.
thinking about. Thank you.
And I know the numbers increased a little bit from the original numbers. If we do vote to split the cost, I mean, are we setting a precedent if in 5 years another 50 homes come down the pike? And then the second question would be, do we know there are any other cities that have participated by paying these costs? And if the city's gonna share, should the county share, should the state share? I mean, we're already 65% taxpayer funded, I guess.
Couple- Can-
It's not taxpayer funded. It is funded by flood insurance.
So, to answer your question, was the first question was about, I mean,
And we know the numbers increased if they
Oh, the
came back.
numbers, yeah.
We're setting a precedent.
right. So this project will have been defined. We went back, and part of the reason it went up is they added some properties to it. But we've pretty much locked that in now in terms of what the project area is for this specific project. So, that would be a totally separate program outside of this project. So that would be a separate decision, a separate funding, et cetera. And this grew out of a cost-benefit analysis of post-2010 flood, what are projects that had a positive cost-benefit? And this is one of two projects that did. Based on some feedback, we asked the Army Corps to revisit the properties that met that threshold, and a few were added. And I believe this is at 36 homes at this point. That I believe we've defined the project limits at this point. In terms of other cities and this specific program, I can't speak to that because this is a specific project that was identified through an analysis of the Harpeth River watershed. I can tell you that we had previous funding that helped acquire properties that had, I believe it was an 80 or 90% FEMA share, and then the state pitched in half of the match, and then we met the remaining portion of the match. That was a very limited number of homes. Again, it was also voluntary, but those were complete acquisitions and demolitions of properties, and those became city property.
Was Was that voluntary?
That was voluntary as well, and that was also a post-2010 flood. Those were homes that had documented reoccurrences and met a certain threshold in terms of the impact of previous occurrences and the projection of future occurrences in terms of, again, it was sort of a cost benefit that there were going to be more dollars spent on recovery from flooding than going ahead and purchasing those properties. So that was a limited number, but that was also voluntary.
Alderman McClendon.
Thing. It was in July, I believe, 2013, that, didn't we have the original comments about this?
That's, I believe, when the study was initiated in Franklin and Nashville and Brentwood and Williamson County all participated in it in terms of the review of options and what could be done to mitigate flood impacts. And from that entire analysis, there were two projects in Franklin that met it. This home raising project and the enhancements around the bridge area at the Harpeth River near downtown, that basically enlarging those culvert areas, which will ultimately be addressed through the replacement of that bridge, which will provide greater capacity in that area and relieve some flooding.
Alderman McClendon.
I think I'm right about this. We paid those homeowners that you just discussed 100% of their value, not 65% of their value, or 50% of their value. We paid them full value.
We didn't pay them.
Well,
That,
either way, you got to 100%.
right.
There was a FEMA portion, there was a match portion that was a mix between state and city in that program.
Okay, we didn't discount the property owners or ask them to pitch in their own money on their.
But you purchased
on their-
the home, you
we-
own the land.
Right, but it's,
And demolished the home.
right, and it is now essentially valueless. I mean, it's not a value to, we don't earn any money on it. It's off the tax rolls. It's not a valuable asset that we declare as a surplus and make any money off. It's just vacant land that we purchased off these people at full value. So that's one. Two, I think, I could be wrong again, but I think on Fairgrounds, the people are keeping their homes and we're doing projects that improve their value. Am I right? Or did we buy those?
I think you're speaking of
Battle
Battleground,
Battle.
Battle Avenue,
In
sorry.
in one, we're buying the
Avenue.
property outright.
In Battle Avenue, you're purchasing two homes, I believe.
Okay.
And creating a detention area.
For the benefit of others,
Yes.
okay? And on Fairgrounds?
I don't know what Fairgrounds is.
No
Okay.
homes on Fairgrounds.
All right, so,
There's an infrastructure upgrade there, that's not I don't think that's a.
okay, so what we're doing here, and, okay, so to Scott's point, I think it is not a precedent-setting thing in that, one, we are not bound by one decision and another. It makes sense to do things coherently, and coherent analysis often should lead to the same result. But in this case, it's somewhat unique. We have the opportunity to leverage 65% federal funds. When and if another set of flood-damaged homes comes along with a 65% federal match, should we do the same thing? Probably. Are we bound to do the same thing? No. As to Ms. Martin's point, I get it. On the other hand, this is a target of opportunity. You would like for us to honor the first discussion that we had in the order that we had it. I understand that, but this is a target of opportunity where, had we had all of this available at the same time, I don't know what we would have done. But passing over 65% federal leverage, just because we've had a conversation with someone else first that hasn't percolated through the CIP to a final decision by the full board of mayor and aldermen, seems a little, with all due respect, Ms. Martin, seems a little bit stubborn, but that's your prerogative. But more importantly, why would we treat different people differently? We're not asking the homeowners whose property we're buying on Battle Avenue to take only 50%. We're paying them 100%. Yes, we own the property when we're done, but we're also using that property to benefit others in the neighborhood whose property values will be directly benefited by it. So I think we're treating people who are substantially similarly situated very differently by asking the property owners in this program to pitch in 50%, when we did not ask the Battle Avenue homeowners to forego 50%.
It's really 17%.
Well, 50% of the 35%, whatever. To me, a nickel is the same as a matter of principle. I mean, some of it's just more affordable, but I think it would be, I could actually have more logical respect for someone who said, we contribute nothing, the homeowner pays all. Once we get into paying any, I don't understand not doing the whole thing when at the same time, we have a CIP project that proposes that we pay 100% to the homeowner to buy them out of property that has been rendered devalued or valueless by flooding. And you can make the case that, well, the storage unit, okay, so what? So what? We're gonna go around and bail out everyone because they claim, or even if it's true, that some other subsequent decision that the city allowed to happen negatively impacted them? That to me doesn't, you could make the same case up and down Lancaster, that they shouldn't have been allowed to build those homes in the first place. They have as much, and I'm not persuaded by either of those arguments. To me, we're treating people who are in the same situation differently. And that's not fair. So I'm gonna make the motion that the city pick up 100% of the 35% that's not being paid by FEMA.
You wanna make
That
it?
is my motion.
You want,
Who's already in motion?
yeah, we've already got a
That's
motion
my motion to amend the
to
motion.
amend. So we have a motion to amend
State it again.
the original
please.
motion.
My motion to amend is to change the 50-50 homeowner-city split to homeowner contributes nothing, city picks up 100% of the 35% not covered by FEMA.
I'll support that and give you a second.
Thank you.
Question, that's option 2, right?
I don't know which option it is, where I'm just looking at what's on
Well,
there.
that's where the 35% remaining non-federal project cost is solely paid for by the city.
Yes, that's option two.
And
Okay,
that's what you're asking, option 2.
If that's what option 2 was.
So you're asking to amend it to option 2.
That is, any discussion on this option?
Do we know, after the fact these homes are raised, would we have a rough estimate of what the current flood insurance premiums are today versus what they might be after the homes are raised? I've got to assume they're gonna go down?
Have to go down. Why would
I mean, that would be nice to know if the city was gonna kick in 50%. Could the homeowners pass on the flood insurance premium savings back to the city as a gesture of goodwill? I don't know.
Alderman Peterson.
I do want to say that last time we heard from people who were saying that they were going to have to, get mortgages on their houses if they have to pay a part of it. And I suspect that for almost everybody, that would be the case.
We have a motion to amend the original motion to go back where the city pays 100% plus the 65% paid by FEMA. Well, let's vote on that motion. All in favor of the motion as amended, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hands. Motion fails 4-3. Let's go back to the original motion then, which is the city pays half of the 35%, the homeowner pays half of the 35%, and FEMA pays the 65%. That was the original motion. All in favor of the original motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-2. Motion passes. Is there any board member that does not understand what we just passed?
They should watch the tape.
Okay, watch the tape, that's right. Item 13. Consideration of event permit for Mellow Mushroom Live on the Square concert series beginning May through September of 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Proper motion and a second, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Move, we go to executive session.
Right on. We've got an executive session, that's a proper motion. I'll entertain a second on that.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. We're going into executive session.
must have knocked
We've got enough.
No.
Any action to come before the board?
No, sir. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. It has passed. We are adjourned.